Okay. No, I got plenty to say about KA versus SR, don't worry. Okay, KA versus SR, there's always been a debate about what's better, especially if you're going to build the engine and turbocharge it.
The KA-SR battle is pretty badass because I used to have a 240 a few years back, so just seeing build-ups like this is pretty cool.
So we decided to basically build up two of these vehicles at the same time, and we put feature editor HRF, Richard Fong in charge of the SR20 build, and we put Jaron Walker in charge of the KA24 build.
Now both builds are going to be pretty badass, but they all have their weak points.
For the SR, I think the weakness is a lack of torque. Granted that it's a 4-cylinder engine, but if you compare that to the KA, there's tons of torque.
With Jaron's car on the KA, there's two things he probably is going to have to worry about is his tranny solution and his head gasket. Whereas on Rich's car, it's been a more proven engine. A lot of people have developed that engine as opposed to the KA24. So Rich has a little bit of an advantage there.
I know Jaron has a lot of experience in drag racing, so I expect that he'll do relatively well because as Richard proved in DVD 20, where he took his 12-second car and ran a 14-something in it. As a road racing, both of them spend a lot of time off track. I don't mean driving off track, but they don't get a lot of seat time road racing, so I think that's going to be a toss-up.
Rich has like hundreds of hours of seat time on the road course in his S15, let alone that. So he has a huge advantage there, so the dyno challenge is going to be a huge variable for both of them.
There's a lot I could say about both of the platforms, but for me, working for D-Sport, the fact that we get to see two of our employees go head-to-head against each other is just something completely different than anyone's ever done. So I think you're gonna have a lot of people who are gonna be cheering on Jaron simply because he's Jaron. And then you're gonna also have a lot of people who cheer on Rich simply because they're horny.
Guys are bastards. The 240SX S14 and the S15 Silvia are a perfect matchup because, for the most part, the chassis are practically the same underneath. Their S15 does benefit from some additional refinement, but largely the parts are interchangeable between the chassis, and dimensionally speaking, they're awfully similar.
The S14 in the US comes with the KA motor in it, and the popular swap is the SR20. But for some people who can't afford to go the SR20 route or don't want to swap, they get stuck with the KA. The KA gets a bad rap right off the bat, but in the end, we'll see. Like, I believe in the KA, and I believe in the setup that I'm building.
Had these two individuals been competent, would have been completed in about 4 to 5 months. But Jaron likes to party a lot.
Love to party.
And doesn't like to follow through. Richard, on the other hand, Richard's the type of person that you can give him a 5-minute task and come back 5 hours later and he's just about finishing it up.
Well, it's been under construction for some time. It's on us, you know.
I wouldn't say that I've had difficulties with the KA. I would just say, you know, I've been set back, I lost a motor, but with anything, there's hurdles you face, you know, so losing that motor did kind of set me back in the project, but I'll be back pretty soon. I'm gonna come back stronger than I was.
So I think with those two handicaps, it's been very difficult for them to complete their project. Plus, along the way, they've made a lot of stupid mistakes, one after the other. I don't know which one's worse. Had one of them actually completed on time, the other one probably would have been fired. So maybe it's some type of collusion that they have going on to never finish KA versus SR.
To the people who think that the KA versus SR battle is taking too long, it is taking too long, duh.
Unlike some of my peers who have had the luxury of just paying somebody else to get the work done, you know, I don't have that budget and I have to do as much wrench work on my own as I can. It's not an excuse. There's plenty of people out there that are still lagging and waiting for their engine builds to come around, so.